Very good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and homebasedtravelagent.com, we welcome you to this webinar. Today's webinar is hosted by the Travel Society Host Agency. Our topic today is the value of joining a mid-sized host agency. The Travel Society was one of the first host agencies to have 100% of their travel advisors operate as an independent contractor. This is an agency that is always trying to stay ahead of the curve as to how they provide services to their travel advisors and how they work with vendors. The Travel Society is one of the most respected host agencies in the travel industry, and as always, we very much appreciate the support we get from the Travel Society. We're excited today to have with us Kevin Fonger, Travel Society's Director of Marketing. Kevin has a bachelor's degree from Florida State University and has a master's degree in marketing from the University of Colorado. Kevin has over 10 years experience in the tech and travel industries and is always up to date on all things marketing and tech. Also with us today from the Travel Society are Linnell Leahy, Director of Business Development, and Gina Philp, Director of Operations. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that you're all muted, so we won't be able to hear you, but we do welcome your questions. You can type in your questions at any time in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. At the end of the presentation, we will get to as many questions as we can. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Kevin so he can get started. I'll be back a few minutes before the end of our time together to ask Kevin, Linnell, and Gina your questions. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. That was very nice of you. So today we wanted to talk to everybody a little bit about the benefits of joining a mid-sized host agency. We understand there's a number of different options out there for travel advisors when looking at host agencies. You know, there's small host agencies, there's mid-sized host agencies, and there's large-size host agencies. We consider ourselves more in that middle or mid-range as far as host agencies go. And at the end of the day, everybody has different needs, and it really comes down to what are your needs and pairing them up to make sure that you have the best option when it comes to your host agency. And so to start out, what I wanted to do is, we did a little exercise internally and, trying to figure out, where do we fit into the market and how do our services compare to other travel agencies or host agencies. And, there's a list of a couple things for pros and cons that we came up with small host agencies and large host agencies. So, when you look at a small host agency, the primary focus is, when it comes to vendors, is they have a small amount of vendors because, a lot of times they want to focus a lot of their efforts and their revenues on a couple of vendors. That way they can utilize the highest commissions they can, because if they start spreading themselves too thin, then they're generally going to have the lowest commission rates. The value with a large host agency is they have lots of ICs, and they're able to, it doesn't really matter as much because, if you have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 ICs and they're all selling, say, 200,000, they're still going to be able to meet those marks and get the high commission rates from vendors. And then, when you look at a small host agency, you have that individual support. You have that really close staff to IC ratio. In the larger host agencies, you don't have that as much. You generally have, it's hard to really get a good ratio when it comes to a good level of customer support and being able to respond quickly, when you have, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 agents. Some of the people that have come to us in the past from larger host agencies, and we've talked to other agents, just at events, and sometimes, they do mention that they just feel like they're lost within the system. And so next is, the community. And one of the things that with a smaller community or a smaller host agency is that, you have somewhat of a limited community network, meaning, if you have, 10, 20, 30 ICs that are in a host agency, you're not always going to be able to capture all of the information that you're looking for, and sometimes you don't have an expert available and everything. And so, and then when you have large host agencies, you are able to be, able to reach out and to talk with a lot of people. The challenge with that, though, is sometimes is that you don't know everybody, and so it's especially if you're in a host agency where you have, I guess, new travel advisors and experienced travel advisors. Sometimes you don't know kind of what they're saying and how true that is. And then last is, the buying leverage, and that kind of speaks to the top bullet point as well. But, just having that leverage when it comes to vendors and being able to negotiate contracts. And so, the smaller host agencies, it's a little bit harder for them to leverage. And then for the larger ones, it's much easier just because they have that sales volume to support their efforts. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of a mid-sized host agency and what I consider mid-sized host agency. So we have 170 travel advisors, or 170 and change. I would say that mid-size generally ranges between, I'd say 130 to about 250 or so. And what I consider that is the sweet spot, and so, or the perfect blend with my cool little coffee cup up there. So, and why I say that is because, you have to figure out, when it comes to matching up service and commissions, because, when choosing a host agency, you want to make sure that, you're getting the level of service that you want, and you're still able to obtain, the higher commission levels, which help you, at the end of the day. So looking at the staff to travel advisor ratio, with the Travel Society, we have really good accessibility to our executive team. So if you ever have a question, whether it's sales related, marketing related, operations related, or, we even have our, the two company owners, they oftentimes will call up travel advisors just to see how things are going, and it really gives that personal touch. And so for us, that's really important that, that we're always on the same page with the travel advisors, knowing what's going on in the industry, making sure that we're attending as many events that we can, just so we know what's going on and understand, the needs of all the travel advisors and kind of the changes that are going on. And then, with that staff to travel advisor ratio as well goes along with the support that we're able to offer all of our travel advisors. And so, we feel that, our goal is always to, if we can answer your question in the first, right when you call or right when you email us, our goal has always been to answer within 1 to 2 hours. And, that's something that, we really strive for. And we understand, and sometimes in other host agencies, you might have some challenges, where you're not able to get a response for a couple days. And we've always really tried to focus on that response time. For vendor management, we look at our vendors as true partners. And so, our goal is to really make sure that all of our travel advisors have the best relationships with the vendors. And so that comes through higher commissions, and that also comes through some of the value-added amenities, and some of the partner programs that are offered, which I'll talk a little bit later on. And then, I would say just, through our volume, our vendors also find us to be a really important player in the industry, a really important partner to them. And so that's one of the things that, we, definitely have that leverage when it comes to working with vendors, but we also see that we don't just try to leverage them, but we try to work it out as a partnership. And then, as I mentioned, when you're looking at a host agency, you really have to figure out what's important to you. And so, I think there's some host agencies that are out there, and they do a really nice job of doing a good job of training people. And, if you're new to the travel industry, there's some host agencies out there that do a nice job for beginners. And then there's also host agencies that are, more geared towards the experienced travel advisor. And that's kind of in the ballpark in which we play. You also have to look at fee structures. And then you also have to, you have to figure out what level of support do you need and want. It's one of the things that you have to, if say you're traveling and you're going to, you're looking at different hotels, and you want the Ritz-Carlton experience, but you want the comfort and price. You have to make sure that your expectations are set correctly. And when you speak with our salespeople, we make sure that expectations are set correctly, because that, I think, really sets the relationship up for success. And then, looking at the consortium membership, whether it's vacation.com, Signature, Virtuoso, making sure that, there are different consortiums out there. We, in specific, we work with, Virtuoso and vacation.com. And then, looking at vendor preferences, there are specific vendors that generally have strong suits, and so you want to make sure that your vendors that you're looking to use or that you currently use have good relationships with the host agency. It's always a good idea just to reach out to the vendor rep and make sure that the relationship is strong there. So a little bit about the Travel Society. We were founded in 1986. We're based in Denver, Colorado. We're a Virtuoso member, and we have 170 plus travel advisors, all of them being independent. And so, about a year ago, we did, an exercise in which we really wanted to understand, I think from time to time, it's always a good exercise to kind of to understand who you are and what you stand for. And so if you continue just to do business the way you always will, you'll always get the same results. But so we wanted to do this exercise, and what we came up with was independence, community, and support were our top three pillars, were our top three responses when it came to asking our travel advisors what we stood for and what was most important to them. And so, as I mentioned, we're 100% independent contractors. There's no employees selling travel. When you join the Travel Society, you get to keep your own identity, or if you'd like, you can also choose to use the Travel Society identity as well. And then you also have the freedom to choose your own vendors. It's at the end of the day, you really need to make sure that you're providing the best experience for your clients. That's what makes clients become repeat clients of yours. Next is the community. We have a really strong community here. Everybody is very interactive, and that's something that we find is a really good value, and that's some of the things that everybody really loves about being part of the Travel Society. So we have monthly calls to do that. So we have monthly calls where we provide updates on everything that's going on in the industry, that's going on with our vendors, that's going on with Travel Society, as well as leaving some time for all the travel advisors to ask questions and to provide feedback on how we can better our services. We're always looking for ways in which we can step up our game and provide the best service possible to the travel advisor. Next, we have a private message board. Like I said, it's very interactive. It's a very interactive community, and so we have a private message board in which all of our travel advisors can get answers to, and generally it's within a couple hours that they're able to get answers when they're asking questions. And since we do have primarily only experienced travel advisors, you can trust those statements that are coming in those answers. Last is our annual meeting, and through that it's held once a year. The next one's going to be this March, and it's held in the Denver Boulder area, and it's over a 2-day period. And it's a great time to network with your peers. It's a great time to meet the staff. It's a great time to network with vendors. We have generally between 75 to 100 vendors that you can meet with, and it's a really great opportunity just to kind of build that community and provide feedback and learn as well. And then last, is support. I think that when choosing a host agency, support is one of the key options. And so some of the areas that we focus on are accounting, marketing, and technology, and I'll go into those here. So for accounting, we pay commissions every 2 weeks. We have over 60 years combined experience with our accounting team. They're extremely experienced, they're extremely knowledgeable, and they're super accurate when it comes to their numbers. And so that's one of the things that, when our travel advisors are working with the with each accounting staff, because each one works with a specific accounting staff member. And the things that they say is just, they're easy to work with, and they're always accurate. And so the last thing that you want to do is, your job and your focus is selling travel and really making a great experience for your clients. I think the last thing you want to do is try to track down commissions. And so if for instance, if a commission check isn't there, or if it isn't coming in, just let us know, and we're happy to call up the hotel, call up the airline, whoever it is, call up the vendor, and we're the ones that are going to bat for you, making sure that all of them, that we're getting the commissions that you have, that you deserve. For marketing, that's myself, and so and I'm here to help with all of the travel advisors' marketing needs. And so whether it's somebody looking to reevaluate their marketing strategy, if they need some feedback on websites, we also have Virtuoso also has a product in which you can use for websites. My particular area of expertise is in WordPress. I've built over 10 websites in WordPress, and I have a really good understanding of how that all works, coming with a tech background. And then email guidance, and so really making sure that, understanding that your information or that your emails are very direct and targeted. That way you'll have higher chances of increasing your closure rate. And then social media is always changing, and so having somebody here on staff that can always make sure, so this way you don't have to go in and do hours and days of research to figure out the best social media strategies. You can just come and ask me, and I'm able to give you all the things that I've learned over the years, and I always keep up to date on all the blogs and all the forums for that. And then lead generation, we have a lead generation program. We don't look to have travel advisors solely rely on our lead generation program, but it is there, and so it's nice to get a good lead, depending on your specialty. And then Virtuoso, through our membership with them, also provides a lead generation program that you can be part of. For technology, we use a number of different pieces for technology. One of the main ones that we understand, in the travel industry is client-based. We have a lot of our travel advisors that use client-based to manage all of their client information. So that's something that we fully support. We also have an online booking tool for non-GDS users. We also have GDS for support for Apollo and Sabre. And then for the GDS users, we also have a couple programs, one called Seat Checker and one called Fare Checker, just making sure that your clients are able to get the best fare available and also get the best seat available. We also have custom invoicing, so when you are sending invoices out to your clients, it's not this big blocky and clunky looking invoice. It's it's very sleek and nice looking, and you're able to put your own branding on there. Just really something that sets you apart and makes you look like a true professional. And then last is the computer assistance. We have a dedicated IT person here, that's always able to help you if you have any of the smaller IT issues. It's not, we don't have a Staples or a CompUSA inside of our office, but we are able to help troubleshoot with computer issues from time to time. And then just going into our Virtuoso membership, some of the benefits, I would say the main thing is that our travel advisors really like the value-added amenities. So whether it's and basically we have cruise programs set up through Virtuoso, so they work with pretty much every cruise line out there, and so a lot of times they'll get cabin upgrades or a bottle of wine or a handwritten letter from the captain. Those types of services that really help set you apart. They also have direct email marketing, and so that's something that is definitely a nice thing to have. It kind of helps take the burden off of you to generate some of those email marketing programs. So you can get those emails into your inbox. You just delete a small portion off the top of the email and send it to your clients. And that's something that generally would take an hour for you to generate. And you just have to do a small piece of work that generally takes about 2 to 5 minutes, and send the emails off to the clients that match up to the needs of, or send out the email that matches your client's needs. And then Virtuoso also has an air program. We have over 40 contracts, air contracts at the Travel Society, but we also work with Virtuoso Air, and so they have an air program in which you can book 24/7 online, and you can also get commission through this. And so it's generally for flights that are over water, or international flights. Domestic flights, as we all know, are a little bit more challenging when it comes to getting commission these days. And education, Virtuoso really does an amazing job when it comes to education. They have hundreds of webinars and speaker series out there that are free to join, and so that's something that we always recommend our travel advisors to do. So whether you're looking to increase your professional stake, and so there's professional development courses. There's also places where you can learn more about destinations or particular vendors, and so they do a really nice job. Or, there's a couple other programs in which you can join, in which you're able to focus just on the active lifestyle travel programs, and they really do a nice job of that. I think one of the things that Virtuoso has done in the last couple of years, they've really increased their brand reputation. Clients are really starting to look for travel advisors that have that Virtuoso brand and logo on their website or on their email signature, just because it really shows that this is somebody that's going to take care of me, and I think that and the clients also like the room upgrades and cabin upgrades and the free bottles of wine too. So, but overall, they do a really nice job. A couple of things I didn't mention are the regional meetings and travel weeks. So just more learning opportunities and more networking opportunities through Virtuoso. Our vendor management program, we really take vendor management serious at the Travel Society, and we feel it is, one of our core services, making sure that that our relationship with our vendors is really benefiting the travel advisor. And so we hold educational webinars with our vendors. We also have on-site meetings. And then for the people that don't live in Colorado and that aren't able to make it into our Denver or Boulder office, we do make sure that all of our vendors provide information. So the information that would be coming through this office is also available for travel advisors. So whether you live in Atlanta or LA or New York, you're still able to get all the information that's coming through the office in that meeting. And so that's a really nice feature that all of our travel advisors really enjoy. And the other thing is that, we understand, we're working with vendors daily just to make sure that they're able to understand, that over 50% of travel advisors are now home-based, and so making sure that when they're out in different regions, that they're reaching out to you, and we want to make and we have a calendar as well that lists all of the local events. So it's not just the ones that are in Denver, but we also have the ones that are in New York or LA or Atlanta, wherever it is. And so we make it a point to reach out to our vendors to make sure that all the information is available to you. So some of the key vendors that we have are located on the left-hand side. We don't force anybody to use our key vendors. We do have some programs set up though where you are able to get sometimes bonus commission rates, or you're able to get some additional room upgrades, that type of thing. And then the next we have just partnering with the Travel Society. Becoming a member of the Travel Society. As I mentioned, the majority, or pretty much all of our travel advisors, they all say you guys are easy to work with. It makes life enjoyable. It makes my work and business enjoyable. They have the freedom, and you have the freedom to run your business the way that you want, and that's best for you and your business. You have the support when you need it. We're not overbearing and telling you what to do all the time. There are no long-term contracts, and we do ask, as I mentioned, that travel advisors are, when they come to the Travel Society, and if they're looking to become a member, that we look for travel advisors that are selling over $250,000 in annual sales, and that generally have about 2 to 3 years experience. From time to time there are exceptions to the rule, but just for the reputation and in fairness to all the other travel advisors that are with us, we really want to make sure that we uphold a very professional image with vendors and with clients. And when it comes down to it, is that you look at a mid-sized host agency, and I think that we're really able to give you that family feel. And so, the people that have joined us in the last couple of years, they just come to us and say, "I wish I would have done this years ago." They just really feel like they're part of the family here. And so, whether you're at an event or through webinars or through the annual meetings, it's just we're a really big family, and everybody enjoys being with each other. And so we're always there for you, and it kind of instills just one of our owners. He comes from a Ritz-Carlton background and really instills that level of service. And so we've always had that just superior level of service that we really want to provide all of our travel advisors. So just last, I'll end it on just the different pricing options that we have. And so we have two pricing options. One's an 80-20 split program, and that's generally best for travel advisors that are selling between $250,000 and $500,000. And then we also have a 535 flat fee program, and that's generally best for travel advisors that are selling 500 plus or 500,000 plus. And then we also have options in which you can add subcontractors on both plans. And so, we just ask that, if you are interested and want to learn more about the pricing programs, that you do reach out to our Director of Sales or Business Development, Linnell Leahy, and her contact information is right here. So we understand that, everybody's day is extremely busy. We hope that you were able to, understand that the true value of a mid-sized host agency. We do feel that we do differentiate ourselves from small host agencies and large host agencies. And, if you ever have any questions, we're always happy to help answer any questions you might have. Or if you want to join, just please let us know.
Kevin, thank you. That was
okay.
Great. Excellent information. That was fantastic. I see you have Linnell's email and phone number up there. Is there also a website for the Travel Society that our agents can go to get more information?
Yeah, they sure can. So our website is travelsociety.com, and we also have a consumer website called travelsociety.travel.
Okay, excellent. I have a couple of questions here. You mentioned your key vendors. Can you go over, please, are travel advisors required to sell these specific key vendors, or can they also sell outside of the key vendors?
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, we definitely encourage key vendors when possible, but we feel that it's really important to provide the best experience for the client, and so we do have some great relationships with a lot of vendors, but if there's something that a client needs or wants, I think that's first and foremost.
And what is the process for joining the Travel Society? What does the agent have to show you? How long does it take to get that process finished? What's the general time frame we're talking about here?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So generally, it's I would say about 2 weeks to really go through everything and make sure that that we're a good fit for you and that you're a good fit for the Travel Society. We do generally check references as far as some vendors that you've worked with, your sales history, and then after we make sure that we're a good fit, then you go through an orientation that generally will take about a half a day, and we really make sure that that you get on the ground and start running.
We have a question about your relationship with Vacation.com and Virtuoso. Do agents get the benefits of your relationship with both of those consortia?
Yes, that is true.
Strange, but true.
Yeah, it's one of yeah.
I want to just remind all of our agents listening to this webinar that if you have more questions, type them in, and I'm happy to pass them along to Kevin and his team. Kevin, one of the most frequent questions we get on the Travel Professional Network from our travel agents is, I'm looking for a host agency. What should I be looking for? Who can recommend one? Uh, what should our agents remember? For those of us looking for a host agency, what are the main things that we should remember about the Travel Society that makes you stand out from other host agencies?
No, that's a great question, and I think that the thing that really sets us apart from other host agencies, there's a couple things. I think first and foremost is, we're a hospitality company. We work in the hospitality industry, and that's our, that's kind of at the core of our organization. And we hear that day in and day out, that I can't believe how fast you were able to get this done, how nice you were about doing things. And so really the hospitality, like I said, our owners come from the Ritz-Carlton background, and it's just that really top-notch level of service. And then kind of going back to it, the mid-sized host agency, we have, we're really able to capture those, the industry's highest commissions, but we're still able to have that smaller agency feel where everybody knows everybody, and it's much more of a, you don't feel like you're just part of this huge conglomeration. You're part of this kind of small organization, and you're part of a small family.
I love the slide where you said we are family. Are those koala bears in that slide? I wasn't sure. It was so cute. So I assume that's how all of you are sitting now at your computer while you're doing this webinar. Kevin, we had a question. If you
a lot of our members that the reason they stay with the Travel Society is because we have their back. So I think Kevin picked a really good slide for that one.
You literally have their back, right? Kevin, could you go back to the slide about the fees? We have a question about the fees, the commission split, right? Can you go over that with us, please?
Yeah, sure. And so is there any specific questions that they have, or in general?
There was just a question about what are the fees associated with joining Travel Society.
Yeah, and so it's we have, that's generally on case by case. We also have that on our website, and there's a list of pricing. So if you go to travelsociety.com, there's a pricing section. But we have, it kind of depends on each scenario. So the 80/20 is different from the flat fee. What's that? And so, yeah, there is a deposit, and so there's a $300 deposit, and that is refundable. And let's see.
One thing I think to keep in mind with the two programs, the one key point to keep in mind is that even with these two programs, you get to keep 100% of your ARC service fees. So even on the 80/20 commission split program, you're still keeping 100% of your fees. So the programs do vary. However, in similarity to both programs, ARC service fees are 100% yours to keep.
Yeah, and in general, you're able to keep 80% of your hotel, tour, car, insurance, and then for air, you're able to keep 100% except for consolidators, and then under the flat fee program, you're able to keep 100% of everything, and so you just have that flat fee, and so this really works well for those, the high-producing travel advisors.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Sounds like we're keeping a lot of money, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
We have a question about if you could elaborate on how subcontractors work with the commissions and how that all works.
No, that's a great question. So for subcontractors under the 80/20 plan, we do require them to be experienced travel advisors, with that minimum of selling $250,000, and for the 80/20 plan, we just ask that, or we basically just take that 20%, and so they're able to retain the 80% commission split, and so that's kind of how we are able to make our money on that end. And then for the flat fee, there's a $250 per month per subcontractor.
Okay, excellent.
And then for smaller agencies, we also have programs available, and this is more of a case-by-case, and we really make sure that the financials work out. So if you were a smaller agency and say you had 4 or 6 or 10 agents that you had under your program or umbrella, we also work with smaller agencies as well.
Kevin, can you talk about your feeling about agents who belong to or want to belong to more than one host?
Yeah, that's a good question. We don't generally support that. I think that as a host agency, we want to make sure that we're providing you the best service. And I think that if you are looking to join multiple host agencies, I think that we like to be the one-stop shop. There might be other host agencies that offer different things that you might want to have, but primarily we just we look for our travel advisors just to be with us.
And can you talk about errors and omissions insurance? Do you provide that, or does each agent buy his own, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, each agent provides their own errors and omissions insurance, and we just request that it's $1 million.
Okay, excellent. We have a question if there is a monthly fee on top of the program pricing, or I'll add, is there any kind of segment fee?
Yeah, there are segment fees, and it just kind of depends on the airline. And so we have, like I said, we have different contracts with different airlines, and so segment fees will differ. And so the best thing is to figure out, talk with Linnell, and just determine, what airlines are you selling most, and how did the numbers work out. We have a financial model that we're able to plug your numbers into and see if it makes financial sense for you to go with us or not.
And you mentioned client base. Do you provide client base for each agent to use, or is there a different arrangement?
Yeah, no, we do charge a small fee for client base. It's just a small monthly fee that they have, or it's actually a one-time annual fee with client base. But we're able to negotiate a very good discount for all of our travel advisors with client base, and so you're able to save a lot of money just through using our negotiated rate with client base.
And the invoices that are produced, is that through client base as well?
You can provide invoices through client base, and we also have another program in which you can provide invoices through, and so depending on what your needs are.
Kevin, can you go over a general, again, because I know you mentioned it, a general idea of the marketing that the Travel Society does? I know that you said you can provide leads, but what other kinds of marketing do you provide to your members?
Yeah, no, that's, when it comes down to it is we look to provide more of that personalized service, and so a lot of times, common questions and common requests I get are website evaluations. Given my background in website development and understanding how that works, and how consumers read web pages and how they navigate web pages, I'm really able to give you some detailed feedback, as well as I also have software that I use a lot of times for SEO. And so analyzing your website as far as, how does it rank with Google, and how you can get higher up on search pages as well. And then, just overall marketing strategy, sometimes travel advisors, they've kind of hit a point to where, maybe their sales are topping out and they're just trying to figure a way to really move into that next level. And so I'm able to work with each travel advisor and help them figure out, what are they doing right now, and how can we move them forward? And then, also, our owners also help, provide feedback, just because being in a larger host, or larger mid-sized host agency, we've seen this marketing strategies that have worked and the marketing strategies that have not worked. And so that's really a benefit that we have, is that we're able to take best practices and share those practices with all of our travel advisors. Not that we're providing each individual example of what other travel advisors have done, but we, generally understand, the things that have been successful and the things that have not been successful.
I would think that working with someone that has a master's in marketing is a huge advantage to members of the Travel Society.
Well, thank you.
Well, I think our time is just about over. I urge all of our travel agents listening to this webinar, if you have additional questions, to get in touch with Linnell. Her phone number and her email address are back up on the screen. So to everyone listening to the